Right, shifting our focus now to the UK, a local election of national importance unfolds in the United Kingdom. Keir Starmer's premiership may hinge on the very outcome of the Makerfield by-election. Andy Burnham is on this ballot, and he's expected to launch a leadership challenge against Starmer if he secures a seat in the British Parliament. Voting is underway in this pivotal election. Remember, Makerfield is generally considered a Labour bastion, but Burnham's road to power is not going to be easy. He is facing a tough challenge from Reform UK candidate Robert Kenyon. Counting of the votes will begin later at night as per local time, and the results are expected in the early hours of Friday.
I think if Andy Burnham wins and he goes on to become PM, he's a better option than Keir Starmer, because I just think Starmer's a bit spineless at the moment. He doesn't really know what he's talking about. He doesn't really know what he wants to do, and he just kind of does whatever and just hopes for the best.
Ahead of the vote, UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer offered a major role to Andy Burnham. However, he said that he will not walk away and he intends to fight if Burnham does launch a leadership challenge.
So just yes or no, no circumstances.
I'm not going to walk away. I'm going to fight.
No circumstances you would step aside.
I'm not walking away. Okay. I'm going to fight.
Burnham, meanwhile, is planning a comeback to national politics after 3 consecutive mayoral election victories in Greater Manchester, a feat that has earned him the nickname the King of the North. He previously served as a cabinet minister under former UK Prime Ministers Tony Blair and Gordon Brown. Now, to launch a leadership challenge, Burnham would require the support of at least 20% of the Labour MPs. In the current British Parliament, any challenge to Starmer would require the backing of 81 Labour MPs. Around the same number of MPs have called on Starmer to resign. But the question remains, will these MPs back Andy Burnham's leadership bid? Our correspondent Stuart Smith is joining us live from London at the moment to get us an understanding of what has been going on. Stuart, this seems to be a very interesting election. This might be a local election, but it obviously has an impact and its repercussions will be felt nationally. For Keir Starmer, this is not just about, Nigel Farage and Andy Burnham really fighting against him, but his own Labour Party really standing against him. About 81 MPs have already asked him to resign, but the Prime Minister continues to say that I'm not going to be stepping down. What does it look like? Which direction is this wind blowing?
These figures even suggest that number of MPs who would rather see Andy Burnham in power could be as high as 100. And indeed, it is so unusual, especially to talk about internationally a small local by-election. In fact, there are 2 others happening in Scotland today as well. But we're not talking about those because this one's special. It's the first time since 1965 that a lawmaker has stepped down in order to allow someone to then take their seat with a view to becoming Prime Minister. And the indications are he could very well do it. As you've said, there are a few hurdles to get there. The first, of course, is winning this by-election, which isn't guaranteed, but does frankly look likely, with most polls suggesting that there is around a lead of around 3 to 12% ahead of Reform UK, the second biggest party when it comes to this by-election. Now, if the right were to come together, the political right in this constituency, so Reform UK plus Restore plus the Conservatives, that lead would look a lot tighter. In fact, Andy Burnham may not even win, but it looks like with the right being partially fragmented, it will be smooth sailing for him. We'll know in about 12 hours. But then even if he becomes an MP, a lawmaker in the UK's national parliament, as you explained, there is one route that he'll definitely have to take if indeed he cannot get Keir Starmer to resign beforehand, which looks likely. So he'll need to get the support of those MPs. He'll then need to get the support in any leadership competition of members of the Labour Party, the broader party, people that pay a membership fee to be part of it. Now, of course, he could perhaps convince Keir Starmer to resign before then, even though Starmer has said he's not going. Maybe if Andy Burnham can convince huge numbers of cabinet colleagues to say to Keir Starmer, look, we're going to resign unless you go, perhaps that could change things, and we'll know for sure whether that's likely to happen in the few days after this by-election. But for now, it's all about these 70,000 people in Makerfield casting their ballots either for indeed Andy Burnham or the other candidates in this election. Reform UK could take it. Their candidate, Robert Kenyon, has had some slip-ups with this. Previous comments about women, COVID conspiracy theories, and also other comments about even the Reform UK leadership, like Nigel Farage, could mean that his vote is weakened. But latest polling does suggest this is the road for Andy Burnham to become potentially Prime Minister.
Well, let's wait and see, Stuart, whether he does, because it's, as you said, a long road ahead for him if he does end up winning this election and eventually becoming the Prime Minister of UK. I'll leave it there, Stuart. Thanks very much for joining us with the latest.